All right, my name is Maggie. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm going to be your moderator today. And thank you very much for joining us for the Earp It Forward panel, where we're going to discuss the potential for and the impact of our fandom on positive change. So whether you are a new Earper, for example, my professor from college is here, and I'm going to totally call her out because I gave her homework and I told her to go watch Wynonna Earp, and I learned this face from you. I just wanted to let you know. All right? So whether you're new to the fandom, whether you're a seasoned vet, or whether you think this is the Audre Lorde room and you think you're in the directing a sex scene panel, you are an Earper. And thank you very much for coming so we can discuss Earp It Forward and how we can contribute to making a positive change in this world. We do really want to keep this super informal for you guys. So grab a donut. There are a few left, vegan on this side, regular on the other side. I think there were a couple with bacon, but I don't know if those are gone.
We go from vegan to bacon.
Yes. Well, we are definitely the spectrum here. Yes. So, grab a donut, get settled. I wish there was some whiskey because, damn, I'm nervous. But unfortunately, there isn't. So I guess I'll have to settle for a sugar high. Either way, we do want to be informal, so it'll be just basic introductions, a couple questions. And then after that, we really want to turn it over to you guys because this is a panel about you and the impact of Earp It Forward and volunteering in the fandom on how it has essentially affected you guys in a positive way. So at the end, please share your stories and then ask our panelists some great questions. So Kristen, if you can just introduce yourself and kind of tell us who you are in terms of Earp It Forward and Earp Your Community.
All right. I'm not very good with mics, so I'll try this out. So my name is Kristen. I am the founder of Earp It Forward and then the co-manager partner for Earp Your Community. And I also run the Twitter page for Earp Your Community New England. So if you are from the New England area, come find me and I'll help you create any events or we can get started and make ours together.
I'm Sarah. I created Earp Your Community with Kristen, and then we kind of formed a really great partnership, and so now I help her and partner with her on Earp It Forward, but I also run the Bayhot Earp Your Community group, and yeah, that's pretty much me. Oh, and she and her.
My name is Geffen. My pronouns are also she and her, and I run Earp Your Community LA, so at LA Earpers. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Zett. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm one of the Bayhotters, so I'm part of Sarah's group. I'm just one of the volunteers, so I'll just share my side of things. So.
Awesome. She's underestimating. She's underselling. She is more than just a volunteer. Just putting that out there.
Just a volunteer.
Nice. So Kristen, you were the origin of Earp It Forward. Can you kind of tell us a bit about the genesis of Earp It Forward and Earp Your Community and how that came to being?
Sure. So I'm kind of going to start off by being really vulnerable. So hopefully when you guys talk, don't feel like you have to be like nervous or anything like that. But I just kind of wanted to start with, I kind of grew up like, I have like a thought processing disorder, so kind of hard to organize my thoughts and stuff. And I was really shy and reserved. So there was a lot of like isolation and not feeling like I belonged. So finding a community was a really big deal. The people that really supported me when I was younger were my teachers. I didn't necessarily get along with like other kids, and I'm sure a lot of you guys relate to that. So what I wanted to do was kind of mirror that support system, and just the real genesis of Earp It Forward is that kindness makes a difference, like even the small stuff. So in college, I started a Pay It Forward organization, slightly generated by a course I was taking. It was about kind of creating a service-focused community event. So we did like small little activities, just little acts of kindness. And it wasn't really like a big thing then. But when I joined the Wynonna Earp fandom, it was like just the perfect fandom because it's such an inspirational, kind, generous fandom. And it was like a safe spot for me, really welcoming. And the aspect that I just really felt that Pay It Forward could be implemented in the Earp fandom. And sorry, just a second. And it was just like the perfect group of people to change the world. A small group of people that can change the world, like the Margaret Mead quote. And sorry, I'm almost there. All right.
Keep going, you're doing great.
But like Earpers are just all over the world, and I just thought this was the perfect group. So I started Earp It Forward after the 2016 election in November for just to insert positivity and kindness into the world and spread joy and encouragement, just little stuff to help boost people up because obviously it wasn't the best of times. And in 2017, another Earper reached out to me to work on a project with them. And I realized then that I kind of wanted to build up the team that I had been hoping to build. So I started this group chat called Kindness Warriors. And that is where I met Sarah.
Yeah. So just to jump off of what Kristen said, I joined Twitter to keep up with the political news, which was a terrible idea. But through that, I found the Earper fandom, and I was in a really hard spot in my life, and I just had all this kindness and support coming to me and building up my confidence, and I was looking for more ways to kind of be involved in the fandom that wasn't just Twitter, or wasn't just me writing stuff that was in my head, but to actually give something back and to kind of give back some of that kindness. And so when I saw the ask, like, who wants to join the Kindness Awards? I'm like, that's me, I want to do that. And I think Kristen and I were both thinking about a service meetup kind of project. And so I put it out into the group chat, and Kristen responded, and we just kept talking about it until eventually it became a thing. And now here we are, and here I am. Yeah.
How about you, Geffen? How did you get involved?
Yeah, so I have been wanting to do a volunteer group for some time and never really had like an outlet for it. I did volunteer for a bit. There's a YouTuber, Hannah Hart, who would do these things called Have a Heart Day, these service days, and I used to volunteer with that, and it was also a very like inclusive and queer-friendly environment. And when I got really into Wynonna Earp and started going on Twitter, I just kept seeing Earp It Forward, that kind of positive vibe everywhere. And I thought, wow, this is like the perfect, like I've had this kind of on the back burner of my mind, this is like the perfect community to do that with. And I didn't know that Earp Your Community had literally just started. Because this was in August, yeah, that I got that I had that idea. I didn't know that it had just started, and I was like, oh, I don't see a group in LA. Maybe I'll try to do something like that. But I literally don't know any Earpers. My friend got me into the show, and I wasn't involved online or anything. So I went to the Green Ribbon Club event that was in August in Anaheim, and the first person I spoke with was Sarah. I didn't really realize she was wearing an Earp Your Community shirt. I just started approaching her and talking to her, and I said, yeah, I'm kind of thinking of starting like a group in Los Angeles, and she was like, I started Earp Your Community, and I was like, oh, that's perfect. So kind of just went from there. I started the Twitter account. I like tagged you guys and went to you guys for support, and did my first event at the end of October, and it's kind of just gone from there.
How about you, Lizette?
So I got into this a little differently. So a few years ago, I was kind of had a nervous breakdown and had postpartum depression and stuff like that. So I came out last year and kind of found the queer community and kind of been going through with that. And then about like, I think August was the Ocean Beach cleanup. So I'm like wearing a Carmilla shirt, and I apologize, at an Earper panel. But so I kind of heard about the Bay Area Earpers from a podcast I listened to, which led me to Sarah's volunteer event, and she was advertising like a free water bottle to the first few people that signed up. So I've always wanted to do volunteering, and it seemed like a really good place to meet other friends in this community that I just found. So I signed up, I got the water bottle, and
The most important part.
yeah, the most important part. And ever since, like, it's just this great sense of community to do that stuff together, and I've been going to every event since. So, and then I organized the last one that we had at the food bank. So,
She also has an adorable daughter that she brings to every single event, and
Yeah.
she's not here right now, but
she is eating lunch, so that's where I ran from.
she's the coolest of us all.
yeah.
I think she's your best friend, right?
Yeah, she's my best. She's my
yeah.
the murder trees are here. I can't.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Just between us, she's your best friend.
Yeah.
All right. Good. Just between us. So, how did you guys get started in volunteerism, and then how has being in Earp It Forward and Earp Your Community sort of changed your volunteerism or your perspective on volunteerism? And any of you guys can answer.
I can start. So I've been volunteering since I was little. It was like one of my very first memories. I used to volunteer at a senior center with my grandfather. And he died when I was 12, but my grandfather was and still is my favorite person in the world. And so a lot of my desire, I think, initially started by just wanting to do something that would make him proud, and kind of do right by him. And so I did it all throughout high school. And then I got into politics, and I started doing community organizing and stuff like that. And it was really great to see how the community can work together to volunteer and to make change that they want to see. But it also burnt me out. And I stopped. And then I got into this Earper community, and there was just this drive to do good and to be the best people that we could be. And so then I started the Earp Your Community thing, and as I've been doing it, and I say this a lot, we get tagged in a lot of stuff for Start the Wave, and seeing people's response to that really changed how I thought about what I wanted this project to be. First, I just wanted it to be a way to focus all of that social energy that we all have as Earpers and to do something good. But when I saw how empowering it was, and I felt how it was like pushing away all my cynicism that I had built up post-politics, I realized that this was more than just a chance for us to help other people. It was also a chance for us to build our own community and to help our own well-being in a time that's not necessarily, like, I've never been more hopeful than I am right now, even though things are terrible, because I go out and I volunteer with Zett, and we see all of this kindness, and it helps you stay positive. It helps you chase away cynicism, which is really toxic. But what I learned from this was it's about the community that does it together, and that's where for me, that's where the self-improvement, that's where the self-care comes from, is doing it with people.
That's a great answer, and actually you touched on a really strong point, which is there is actually really good evidence that shows that if you go out and volunteer, it actually improves your well-being. It improves your job satisfaction. Even if you volunteer outside of your job, your life satisfaction, your physical health, and your mental health. So I know you've touched on it a little bit, Sarah, and I think that's great. But does anyone else want to share? Maybe Lizette, do you want to share a little bit about how the volunteering has sort of helped you with kind of the processing through the issues in the past few years?
Yeah, so like I said, had a really, my daughter's 3 years old, so I had her 3 years ago, and I had postpartum depression, and just like came to the point where I quit my job and everything. So last year, I was kind of trying to find myself and like kind of build myself back up, and like having Earp Your Community was really important, because not only could I identify with like volunteering and feeling like I could do something that would be beneficial to a lot of people, but it also helps like find that community of people that I could like really rely on. Like I was telling them before that I volunteer at my work with my coworkers, and they're normally just like all the marketing HR people that do the volunteer stuff, and not a lot of people that I can relate to, and going to an event like Earp Your Community, I can talk to people about like the queer fandom, and we have like inside jokes, like they were licking grapefruit last time, stuff like that, and you form this bond together, and then so having that community as well as helping the community around us has really helped kind of give me more purpose. So
I have depression and social anxiety. So one of the things that's really good about volunteering is it just has this impact when you're giving back. It's not and it's not just the people that you're like helping. You get you also like that kind of give and receive sort of thing. And I always mess up.
Doing great. You're good.
And but yeah, talking about community, one of the big things when founding Earp It Forward and Earp Your Community was creating that sense of connection. Because like with me, a lot of Earpers have like depression or anxiety. It's really hard to do stuff at like social meetups. But with volunteer events, you can kind of like meander your way in because you're sharing you're having a shared passion, and it just makes it easier to vibe with people. And then you create these sort of like families that you keep on volunteering with people, and you just create more and more bonds. So it just helps out, I think, with your mental health. And just one of the big things for me is volunteering gives me a sense of purpose. And I've volunteered kind of throughout my life, and I've always kind of come back to that that mindset. So in terms of looking for a job, I want to work with a company that's very about working with the community and giving back.
Well, I think the words like community and connection are definitely, like, I think that several years ago when I was looking for volunteer events, and also ones that were inclusive, I don't think I knew exactly what I was looking for. And after I did that and having this kind of desire, drive to create one of my own, I think that's really what I was seeking, was like an opportunity to help other people also make connections. Like, obviously for me to connect to people, but there's really, like, honestly nothing better than seeing people, like, after I did a bowling event, like, where we raised money, seeing people who were like interacting afterwards. The winning team, I put together a bunch of people
She
who
was
never.
not on it, by the way. Her score?
We discussed this.
Her score was 34.
Look, guys, well, you never said you were going to actually. Anyway,
I never
that's
said
besides
it.
the point. Not to derail that. Anyway, thanks. I was
Just
not
here
on
to
the
support
winning.
you.
What?
Just here to support you.
Right. I was not on the winning team. But the winning team was a group of people who I don't think any of them had ever met before. And that was so cool in the end, just to like see people make those bonds. So, and for a good cause, like obviously that's a social event. And we've done other events like going to food bank and volunteering at animal shelters. So got the animal shelter crew here. Yeah. So that was really the big drive for me. And I think in terms of how it can affect your day-to-day life, like I was starting a new job at the same time that I was starting this, and I had just moved back. Like, I had been away for several months working with a nonprofit, and I was a little bit disappointed in myself that I hadn't found another nonprofit job to go into, because that was what I'd wanted to pursue, even though I do really like my job. But getting to kind of have an outlet for that part of myself was really important to me. And not only that, it actually made me seek like meaningful connections in my workplace and to create that sense of community also within my workplace, which I don't think I was, as we were kind of discussing this panel, I think as I was sort of like processing that having those things happen at the same time did make a difference. But yeah, so just community and connection.
Can I add one thing?
Of course.
Sure. So I just wanted to add to what Geffen was saying. The last event that Zett helped me organize, and then we organized together, I had gotten some frustrating news at work, and the day before, I was just in a bad mood, and we had to get up, I don't know, I had to get up at like 6:30 on a Saturday, and I was just not feeling it. That whole Friday was just terrible, and I went anyway because I'm one of the organizers, and so I have to be there. But I had such a good time. I annoy them with pictures and putting my camera in their face all the time.
I always do that too.
And because I also have a lot of, I don't have social anxiety, but I have like imposter syndrome, kind of that kind of anxiety. And so like a lot of times afterwards, I'll start to like second guess myself. But I took all these pictures. I had this really great time, and I was looking through all these pictures of connections that I made, that I helped make happen. And my whole week the next week was different. My whole approach at my office, I was in a better mood. I was more optimistic just because I decided to go to that one event. And it wasn't the first time that had happened, where I was just like not in the mood to socialize. But I did it, and I always leave these events feeling better, just like feeling more whole, feeling more confident, feeling more optimistic, even if I have like some anxiety afterwards about did I do it right. But as soon as I look through all those pictures and see everybody smiling and laughing, and I see what we've done, the rest of my week is better.
Awesome. So all of you guys organize events, and a lot of us Earpers are a little bit shy, and I will speak for myself. I'm a super shy, super awkward, nervous introvert. And I love to volunteer, but and I love community engagement. But you know, the concept of volunteering together, although it's very attractive to me, frankly, it overwhelms me. And so, do you guys take that into account when you're planning your service and social meetups? How do you decide, you know, which one to do, kind of the balance, and then how do you sort of put us at ease, those of us who are a little bit more awkward or anxious around folks?
Yeah, I can answer that a bit. So I mean, I think I kind of touched on the fact that I didn't know like anybody when I went into this, and so when I organized the first event that we did, I was, you know, all the people other than a friend I brought along, which, yeah, if you do have somebody to kind of bring along to an event who can kind of be that support for you, even if not, I've, you know, gone to events like without people too, but definitely just the volunteering, I think it was touched on before, it creates this like very kind of low-key, like you all already are having a common purpose, you have something to focus on. So I think that kind of takes away some of the pressure. And obviously Earpers, you can kind of, I went into this just assuming kind of what I had seen online was just like, I know Earpers are really friendly and welcoming, so hopefully that actually holds up, and it does, I can tell you, as you all know from being here and around other Earpers. So I think just knowing that like you guys are going to have a shared purpose when you're volunteering with people. But were you talking specifically about coming to volunteer or about organizing an event?
So if I'm coming to volunteer, how do you empower me to come to that event?
Yeah.
Because frankly, I get very overwhelmed with a large group of people.
Yes, just a tad. I think we can all relate. But I think that also just knowing you can reach out to, obviously we're not the only people hopefully who will be organizing events, but we're doing this because, we care not only about certain causes, but we care about Earpers and care about people. And so, you know, you can reach out ahead of time. Also, I do just try to like really get to know people at any event and talk to people. So just know that, you know, we're looking out for you and kind of looking to take care of anybody who might be anxious as well.
I use a group chat, and I add everybody to the group chat, and so I talk to people ahead of time, and I try and get to know them. But when I get to the event, I kind of get into caretaker mode, where I just kind of, I think I do less of the volunteering work when we're at events than everybody else, because I'm kind of just trying to make sure nobody's by themselves, and kind of gauge how to approach them, because not everybody wants to be approached. But this is one thing that I swear helps, and it's not a materialistic thing, but we do the shirts. Yeah. I give away water bottles sometimes. And it's just there's camaraderie that helps people kind of break that ice. And so it makes people feel cared for. And by the way, we put some cards where we could for Beyond Clexa. She's the one that makes our shirts. So if anybody wants to do an event, get in touch with her and she can hook you up with shirts. But like just little acts like that tend to put people at their ease, and because I've been that person where I've been in like more so for the social events, because when I'm in the volunteer mode something clicks, but when I'm in a social event like where I don't know anybody and maybe there's already a group of people that know each other and I'm the newbie, where I just don't know what to do, and so just any kind of like thing that kind of pulls them in. I try to be really intentional and really not strategic, but just really focused on making sure everybody feels like they're part of the group. I think when Zett came to our first one, she was a little late, and so I tried to make sure I connected her with a group. She's got a 3-year-old daughter.
Did it work?
It's fine.
Yeah,
It's
did it
fine.
work?
Yeah.
Just wondering.
And so I don't know, like I don't know, did that work? Like I tried to connect you to like.
Yeah, so when I first went to the first event, like I said, I wasn't really an Earper. I like watched a few episodes. But Sarah was really welcoming and made sure that I met a few people. So I had a little group that I was cleaning up with, and just always keeping in contact, and just making sure that, like, we had lunch afterwards, making sure that everyone got there. And then, like, having her do that kind of sparked everyone else to kind of work together and make each other feel comfortable. So a lot of us are pretty good friends now, so.
Awesome. So, Zett, I'm going to keep you on the spot.
Oh, okay.
You're a little 3-year-old. How do
Yeah.
you inspire her and instill kind of the volunteerism and social advocacy in her at such a young age?
So Arya's like the, I don't know, we were joking about her being the Earp Your Community mascot because she's at every event. So I brought her the first event just to play on the beach while I was cleaning it. But ever since, like, she gets really excited when she sees like Sarah or Yvonne or
Best friend.
her best friends. She doesn't really, like, she knows that she's helping, but it's not like volunteer and like, oh, mom's making me do this. It's like really a social thing that she grows up with, and she has her best friends there. She gets to like do things that she normally can't do, and my hope is that like she'll see that as like a regular part of her life and continue to do that herself. Like, if you meet my daughter, she's running around somewhere. Like, she's really
literally the cutest thing ever.
yeah,
She's adorable.
and she's really polite and offers to do things. Like, I don't know. I'm really proud of her for doing that. And
I want to add, we did a toy drive, and I thought, she's great, but it's toys. There's toys everywhere. She's going to want them. She's going to want to take them home. And she was amazing. She was like putting toys in the basket. She didn't complain at all about not getting to keep it. She is when she's old, if it's an event she's old enough to go to, she's always active in it. She's not just like there. We did a suicide prevention walk. She was there with us, and obviously just walking, but like she tries to engage with us, and it's really, for me, it's really encouraging to see that in the next generation.
So
Yeah.
last question before we share our stories, mostly for Kristen and Sarah, but anyone can answer. So Earp It Forward and Earp Your Community, these are, huge endeavors to start and maintain. For those of us who are sitting in the audience who are interested in doing something like this, maybe service meetups, it's maybe within the fandom or outside of the fandom, where do you suggest we start? And what advice do you guys have for us?
Sure. So kind of what you're witnessing here is I'm a really shy, kind of awkward person, but don't let that stop you. I've been plugging away with Earp It Forward since 2016, so it's been a while, and you just have to believe that you can build this community and that you can do it. So you can volunteer by yourself or find a group, and you're just kind of looking for, in your community, looking for activities that you're passionate about, and then you can reach out to other Earpers that are also passionate about them. So if you're really into animals, you can go to an animal shelter. And it's just about building that community. And what a lot of us do is we have like a Google survey kind of poll thing, so we get a good idea of the people that are interested in it, and we also work in terms of organizing events. A lot of times we will work with certain organizations. So I did a beach cleanup, And there's a few organizations that I was looking at, but we ended up working with Massachusetts State Parks. So it's really just believing in yourself and knowing that it will all work out, but it may take time. You may not be successful right off the bat, but in the end, it's totally worth it.
I would echo what Kristen said. There's a million reasons why you can't do it, but just do it. Geffen didn't know anybody, and she did it, and she's built a really great community down in LA. I certainly don't think I would have done it if I didn't feel obligated because I built Earp Your Community. So just do it. Other thing, tag Kevin. Always tag Kevin. But on that point, like, I think there's an idea that people think you tweet your event out and it's just going to happen. You have to be really intentional about it. You have to. It's really obnoxious because Twitter moves so fast. You have to keep repeating it. You have to kind of keep trying to tell people, and it's going to feel like you keep yelling at it and you're only getting a few people back, but that's a few people you're creating an experience for that didn't have that before. And you just have to be really patient and know that it's not going to just magically happen. It takes a lot of work, but it's absolutely worth it. And don't let the reasons you think you can't do it stop you. Reach out to us. We support each other. We have our own Twitter accounts for our Earp It Forward stuff, but we are also like in constant contact with each other. Like, is this going to work? I've reached out to, there's an Earper who wants to do a beach cleanup at La Fan Fest in Spain. And so I'm trying to help her kind of organize that and kind of help her wrap her head around how to do that. And I've done that for other people. People have done that for me. So use your resources, leverage your connections, but just do it.
Yeah, I just want to add something to that real quick, definitely about we're here as a resource for sure. And I definitely have sent many a message to Kristen and Sarah asking them for advice on every little thing. And it's just nice also just to know that you have somebody there to bounce ideas off of. But not only that, as I started, like after the first event, sure, I only had, maybe 2 people and then, to reach out to directly. And I also had, like Bonnie and Kevin to ask to tag and retweet stuff to try to signal boost the event. But I would also reach out to people that I started volunteering with and try to include them in on ideas. And anytime I'm organizing something, I'm always asking for people's like opinions on stuff and wanting to. So just it is part of that building those connections. Like I
wanted to add to my perspective. There's always going to be people out there that want to do something like this but just need someone to help guide them, and that's what I felt like I needed. Like, I don't know if I could just start my own community, but like being able to like support Sarah with our group, there's gonna be people out there. You just have to keep putting your message out there and they'll find you. So
yeah, and this panel is here to empower you guys. I mean, that's what they're here for. They have business cards that are out there with the hashtags and the Twitter handles. Sorry, I'm old, so Twitter is shut down for me. But please reach out to them if you're interested. If you're in the LA area, I know that Geffen, shameless plug, is doing a food.
Yeah, food bank event on the 27th of April. So if you're in the LA area, come to that.
My wife is taking pictures of that, so if you want to be on Twitter.
Yeah, I will shamelessly take photos. Yeah. Also, I'm always like paparazzi at all.
But yes, so please reach out to them. That's what they're here for. They're a resource for you. And right now, I'd like to turn it over to you guys. And I would love it if you would share some stories about how maybe Earp It Forward has affected you, or if you've volunteered within the Earp fandom, what you've gotten out of it, or if you have any questions about logistics for our panelists, etc.
I'll just say, like, Earp It Forward is, an Earp community is meant to be a community. It's not ours. Like, that's something Kristen and I work really hard for. We want it to feel like you guys own it, so it's really important for us to know what you guys are thinking and what you guys need help with and stuff like that, so please let us know.
And I'll try to make it down the stairs without falling down when I get the mic to Bonnie. So,
First of all, thank you guys for all that you do for the community. I want to know, for me personally, but also I'm sure you guys are also interested in, like, if we can't I'm in LA to help you. But what can I do more that I'm not already doing to make this a bigger thing for you? Because I want, whether it's signal boosting, which I'm happy to do, sometimes I don't always see it, so DM me. But everyone here, even if you can't attend a community event in your own hometown, there are probably ways that we can increase the likelihood that you guys will find more and more volunteers and that this takes off the ground and gets bigger. So what can we do to help you?
Well, signal boosting is a really big thing because we're all very small kind of reach, and we end up just talking to the same people. But the other thing you can do, there's two other things you can do is celebrate each other. Like we actually send out those Earp Your Community stickers to anybody who uses the Earp Your Community hashtag and tells us how they Earp their community. And sharing your stories, I think, encourages other people to want to get involved. We do spotlights on Earpers. Some of you probably saw the one that Kat wrote the introduction for, but we've done other ones. We had somebody do a completely virtual Earp Your Community event. So keep telling us what you're doing so that we can share it, and we can show other Earpers what's happening. That encourages them to go out there and be active themselves.
Yeah, so building on what Sarah said, one of the things is what you can offer is sharing your stories or like your ideas, and that will inspire people to look for kind of nonprofits in the community that also have these opportunities. So it's just kind of, it's what Earp It Forward and Earp Your Community are about. Is that community, so just coming together and helping each other out with ideas or tips or suggestions. It's just all about helping each other. That's the whole thing. So hopefully I answered your question, buddy.
Oh, well, the other thing I was thinking is for anybody who might find it a little bit overwhelming, the idea of doing like continuous events. Like I knew that I wanted to do like regular volunteering, which is why I created an actual chapter, and we definitely encourage people to do that as well. But I get really excited just going through the Earp Your Community like hashtag and seeing people who do like one-off events, or like people have so many different kinds of ideas. I think we do inspire each other that way. So if you're just doing something with a friend in the community, you can put Earp Your Community and kind of just share anything. I think we're all like really giving people, so I think just making use of that hashtag and kind of, I definitely saw it, but that was something I was sort of seeking out anyway when I was, going on Twitter. So I think just like making that, it doesn't have to be you're volunteering monthly. If you do something cool and you want to share it, just kind of tag that.
So just add one more thing. We had an Earper in I think North Carolina. She actually adopted a highway, so there's a highway in North Carolina that says
Street, but it's it's adopted under Start the Week's name. Yeah.
So if you guys want to do that, it'd be awesome. I'm hopeful that I can do that somewhere in New England, but it's again like spreading the ideas and inspiring each other.
Anyone else want to share their stories?
Geffen may have said, hey, it's
I didn't know such thing.
What are you talking about? Hi, I'm Delaney. Some of you might recognize my voice. I'm the Fiction Addiction podcast. I was living in California for a little while for work, and I was so close to LA, but just a little bit further away, so it was a bit of a drive, and I was super excited when it was finally an event, and that was the first one of the food drives. So we got to make boxes for senior citizens and make sure they got the food that they need, and that's actually kind of what I do for work, so I like making sure people are fed. And then I had the opportunity to do bowling as well. I still carry around my sign of our team name. It's just sitting in the back of my car.
Are you going to share the name?
I don't remember exactly.
I think was it not bowling in the...
It was Earping in the gutters.
Oh, yeah, Earping in the gutters, yeah.
We obviously were not the winning team.
But they were in the gutters because they're fanfic writers.
It was a thing.
There was a significant amount of fanfic writers on the team. Yeah.
Definitely didn't do that on purpose.
And just being able to attend those things, I was super excited because I grew up, I did highway cleanup when I was younger. My college group, we did that along with professional meetings. We had adopted a highway. So, but now I've moved to Tri-Cities, Washington, sort of central, kind of middle of nowhere, and how am I supposed to find, if there's any other Earpers in Tri-Cities, let me know. And it's, how do I find those volunteer opportunities? And just as you mentioned, Geffen, just doing something on your own and tagging it, that's a wonderful idea, but, if you have any other ideas of how to expand on that, how to get more people involved, especially in these smaller areas, rural areas where it's going to be hard to
Convert more Earpers.
get to
Exactly.
yes. All right, go ahead. Other than converting more Earpers.
Yeah.
More
I'm sorry.
There's a lot of databases, like, there's Volunteer Match, but there's also 1,000 Points. I can't remember, we have a list that I think Kristen is going to be putting up of just like databases that you can search by your area, and you can filter it down to groups. That's actually the biggest challenge, is finding a place that can work with the group size. But that's the best way to like find a place. I would say as far as people, it's Earp your community, but they don't have to be Earpers to start. We've definitely had people that were not Earpers.
Example right here.
but that have become Earpers at multiple events, and that's what I would suggest as far as people. And then Earpers will find you. It just might take time. Yeah.
And thank you for sharing, by the way.
It really does blame your moderator and privilege. It starts with one. It doesn't have to start with 6. It starts with 1, and that's what matters. So thank you.
So if we do live somewhere where we might not have a lot of Earp bias, I know you guys did an Earp Your Community event at Earpapalooza last year. And do you have any plans to do that at any of the Earp? It's funny you should ask, because the person who's going to probably do it is 2 people down. No, I'm going to make you talk. The short answer is yes, but Meredith will be organizing it.
Yes.
And done.
Yes. Yeah, so real quick, stand up in front of a bunch of people. So I was I'm also going to fall. That's what I
You're
do.
surrounded by Earpers.
Yes. So I was the volunteer coordinator for Earpapalooza last year, and I'm going to be again this year. And it just so happened, I'm really good friends with Sarah, this Earper community kind of idea had come up right around the time we were organizing Earpapalooza, and I was like, so I messaged Sarah and I was like, what do you think if we did like a big Earper community event at Earpapalooza? And she's like, I think that's a great idea. So that's what we did. So it's a little more challenging. We get a lot. The great thing is we have an Earper convention, we have a bunch of Earpers, we have a bunch of kind people. We have a bunch of people that want to help you. So the only trick was finding something to accommodate a bunch of people. It wasn't like
An honor. Yeah. Between 30 and 40.
yeah, it was 40 people. And it was awesome. And we wanted to do it at the hotel. We decorated bags for this food bank that provides food to sick people. But the great thing I thought was not only were we helping, but it was just like a great way for people to meet at the con. Like people just sat with people they didn't know from all over the world probably. And so that was a great thing about that. And we are going to be definitely doing it again at Earpapalooza. I can speak for us.
Anyone in the areas of the other cons, like it's hard for us to organize something in these other states, but if you're in that area and you want to work on something, we're happy to help. So we would love to do more events where Earpers gather, as opposed to, I mean, we love the different ones where you live, but it's great to do it, like Mary says, we had such a fun time getting to know each other. I met a lot of people myself. We try to do unique shirts for each. This is why mine is purple, because I have the Earpapalooza one on. But yeah, if you're interested in doing something in any of those cities, please let us know if you want some help, and we'll do our best. It's just hard for us to organize an event for the cons because we're not there and we have our other, our own kind of events to plan, but please let us know.
Yeah, and also just putting out into the universe, I guess. I am going to be at ACON, and I would love to help with anything volunteer related, so now you're giving me food for thought to like look into that as well.
The other thing I'll add real quick is me and Allison started our Carolina Earper group last year. We literally thought we could be all the people in North Carolina and South Carolina watching Wynonna Earp. We're like, where is everyone? And so we started, yes. So we started this group, and one of the very first things we did was actually an Earper community event, and we were like, oh God, there's like more. And so now we have, I can't do it, lots. We have lots. We've done a couple events, so I would just like encourage you, like, just don't, wherever you're from, there's people there, I promise. And this is actually, and the other thing is it's a great, almost kind of first meetup for people, because it's low pressure, right? You're doing something, so some people I think are intimidated to go to like a restaurant, you gotta like talk to somebody, and it's like, oh. If you haven't met them before.
Or a restaurant.
Right, exactly, yeah, or that. So it's a great like icebreaker because you're doing something, and I find like when I'm nervous to meet people, that's always like a better idea. So
Also, if you're organizing for the first time, what's great about Earp Your Community, if you find a like, organization, like I said, the hard part is finding one that can accommodate a group. But if you find an organization, you just follow their rules and you just follow their process. So sometimes it's easier than organizing a social event where you have to do everything. All you have to do is really make sure you're following their rules and that you're keeping track of who's there. So it's actually not a bad first organizing activity to do to kind of get your feet wet and like that kind of, if you've never organized a big meetup or something like that. That's what I found anyway. I just, what are your rules? I'm gonna adapt it and just do what you say. And all I had to do was make sure people got there.
So yeah, we're definitely interested in volunteering or having our community events at other cons. We were hopeful to have one here this year, but it didn't quite materialize. It was a Las Vegas food bank. And we're also interested in collaborating with other groups, there's the Harry Potter Alliance, stuff like Start the Wave, or like She Authority, like other fandom-based groups. So just expanding and collaborating is a big part of Earp It Forward. It doesn't just have to be about Earpers. It's about fans making change and changing the world.
I'll add really quickly, like Earpers are the ones that took that right now, like we used Earpers because we are Earpers and because we saw the potential, but there's really a lot of potential in fandom in general. There's a thing that brings you guys together to start with, and there's just a lot of untapped potential to be really powerful in lots of different ways. We see how powerful we are with Fight for Wynonna, we see how powerful we are, voting for Dom in all of these different ways. We have that power to actually change the world as well. Even the Spirit Day fundraiser, like that's amazing. Think about that if we all tried to just do something small together in our community, how powerful that would be.
Yeah, hi Laura. I'm outside with the Chicago Earpers, so I just kind of wanted to turn the tables on what do you do with the rural. So Chicago's a fairly big city, and we have quite a few Earpers in and around the Chicago area. We, until last year, never did an Earp Your Community or even thought about it. And then it was, what do we do? So there's also the thing of, it doesn't matter how many of you there are, but you still have to find a way. So we actually looked around, we looked at like United Way, and we looked at some of the databases and what was in the area. And I actually worked for a nonprofit, so I knew that there were some places in the area and in the suburbs where I live, and we were able to go to a place called Bernie's Book Bank, which gives books to children in elementary in underrepresented neighborhoods. And you go there and you sort the books, and then you deliver the books to the kids. So and it was wonderful. We all couldn't go, it wasn't everybody, but it was a way for us to start, and since then we've done a lot. So it doesn't matter how big your community is, you still have to, like everybody's saying, you just have to take that step forward. So just go and find, and it could just be 2 out of 50 of you. Others will come and will follow.
The Chicago Earpers were the very, very first Earp Your Community event, even before ours. And we're, God, Earpers are disgustingly good people.
Hi, my name is Haley. I've also been asked by someone on this panel to talk.
I didn't know such thing. What anybody's talking about.
No, I can show the text later.
wow, there's documentation.
There's receipts.
Wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm one of the LA Earpers. I started around the same time I guess as maybe one of that happened for you. When you started Cat to start at the animal shelters with all the fires that were happening in California. Around that time I started I wanted to get involved in something. I'd done volunteer work through schools before, Girl Scouts, all of that throughout my life. It wasn't something I really ever stuck, mostly because I didn't find the right group to do it with. But when we got the call out, that was kind of the kick I needed to start looking into it more. So I went to the first event for our orientation in LA, Chatsworth, and Geffen, I guess, and got to make one combo and just worked out going with this. And I'm a huge supporter of Zett, huge supporter of Geffen, to help her figure out what we need to do in the LA area. But it's more, we go into this thinking we need to be, it's about being a good person, about being better people. And I actually hate all of that because it's more about being a person. It shouldn't be good or bad, it's about being, everyone should be this way. So finding this group of people, finding people that you can just be with and show it isn't good or bad, this is what a person's supposed to be, this is what we're supposed to look like, this is what we're supposed to do. And just running with it, figuring out how to show others this is what you need to be doing.
Thanks for that. Thank you. I did just want to say that Haley also, she hasn't just been going to the orientation, she then afterwards started going to other events that I organized, which was just really awesome support. I think that's what I meant by you find people, you make connections, and then it just builds from there. So thank you.
Yeah, no pressure. My name is, yeah, I know, didn't you have to do rock, paper, scissors? It took the pressure off me, thanks, Haley. My name is Jill, and today's a pretty important day for me because on April 13th last year, I had just gotten home from ClexaCon, and I just found out I had cancer. And so right now, I have no sign of disease, but my wife and I have been really lucky over the past year volunteering in the fandom. Volunteering in the Earper fandom has just completely changed my life. For the past year, while I was undergoing treatment, we had the opportunity to travel the world, follow Wynonna Earp, volunteer at cons, meet some amazing people, and what I really learned about that is it's such an amazing experience to support the people who support you. So that's really what I take away from volunteering.
Jill took all the photos at the bowling event and then sent me a really beautiful message afterwards that I had an anxiety attack.
Pretty sure I typed it.
Oh, no, I don't think so. I just want to shout it out because I had a really big, I had an anxiety attack after that event because it's just very anxiety inducing. And she wrote me, she sent the pictures and said, the thing that stands out to me is how happy everybody looks, just anyway, just how genuinely everybody was connecting and having a good time. And I carry that with me whenever anyway, so thank you.
Love you, Jill.
Love you too.
Thank you guys for coming. We do have some murder trees with us.
Oh yes.
And the murder trees. Oh, murder trees. So the murder trees. Earper community t-shirts.
We have enough for, I don't know if we have enough for everybody, we'll do our best.
35, right?
30.
30.
You guys just showed up.
We didn't realize that many people were going to show up. But yes, the murder trees will be handing out special ClexaCon Earp Your Community shirts. We'll probably take it outside so that we don't.
You've been asked to take it outside.
Take it outside. Just so that we don't have to.
If you guys are interested in a t-shirt,
Find a murder tree.
Find a murder tree. Thank you, you guys. And thank you so much for coming.